Hello, students of class 8. Today we are going to start with the next chapter, that is 13 of History India after Independence. Clear? We have already completed the first chapter 12, okay? That is the second phase of in national movement. I have already given the question answers. I am going to send the question answers in the next video. Clear? Now, after India, when India became independent, what happened? The country faced a lot of challenges. The British had left behind an India that had been pushed back to the Medieval Ages. Many issues needed an immediate solutions, and the first challenge was the integration of the princely states of India. Now, second was the rehabilitations of the refugees. Third was to solve the economics problem and ensure development. And number four was to draft a constitution to chart the future course of India. Okay, so when India became free from the hands of the British rule, the country became like an orphan. Okay, which needed to develop so much. Okay, we needed to grow up strongly. So one by one, the challenges coming up on how we need to cope it. Clear? Now, first is the integration of the princely state. At the time of transfer of power, there were more than 550 princely states in India, and each one of these was ruled by Maharaja or Nawab. They had to be persuaded to join India. So, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, he persuaded most of them to join India. Now, the rulers of Kashmir, Junagadh and Hyderabad remained undecided for a long time. Later, all the three, they agreed to join India. Clear? Now, next one, rehabilitation of the refugees. Now, after independence, what happened? Crores of people migrated to India from Pakistan. So, they were homeless, they were jobless, okay. So, start with the new beginning. There was a big responsibility before the new government. Number three, solving the economic difficulties. Now, after partitions, what happened? India faced many economic difficulties, and most of it was the rice and wheat producing area. What happened? It went to Pakistan. So it led to food shortages in India. So many industrialists, they also faced a shortage of raw materials as a jute and cotton growing areas, which were also now in Pakistan. So irrigation facilities were almost non-existent, and what happened? The government had to find solutions to all these problems. Clear? Next one, framing a constitution. So India needed a constitution for itself. So Constituent Assembly decided to prepare a constitution. Chairman of the drafting committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, known as the Bhimrao Ambedkar. Clear? He played a very important role in framing the constitution. So that is why he was known as the father of the Indian constitution. Now, the committee completed its work on 26 November 1949. So that is why the Constitution of India was adopted on 26 January 1950. Since then, this day is celebrated every year as our Republic Day. Clear? Now, what are some of the important features of the Constitution of India? One is equality before law. I hope everybody are very aware what is the meaning of equality. Clear? So, Constitution, what they declared, that all Indians, whether they belong to a different caste, religion and gender, they are all equal before the law of the country. People of all caste, communities, region, religions, they all enjoy the same rights, and no person would face any kind of a discrimination. Okay. Next one, special privileges for the disadvantaged Indians. Now, the frame of the constitution, what they believe, that for centuries some section of the society they have been deprived and discriminated against. They therefore made provisions for granting reservation of seats in legislature and in government job also. So they believe it would help people, that those who belong to the lower caste, they can be uplifted to their social and economic status. Clear? Next one, very important, known as the universal adult franchise. It means what? Right to vote. So Constitution granted all the Indian citizens that above the age of 21 the right to vote in the elections and choose their leaders. That this was the true essence of democracy. Okay. Now, three list, very important. Constitution had divided powers between the central government and the state government, and they have already enlisted three of the list: union list, state list, as well as a concurrent list. Clear? Now, union list were to be looked after by the central government. State list has to be looked after by the state government, and the concurrent list, they will be the joint responsibility of both the central as well as the state government. Clear? Now, next was the planning for development. Once the initial problems were solved out, next objective was to build a strong agriculture and industrial sector. Okay, so to achieve this, a planning commission has been set up in 1950, and that is already of 5-year plans which were formulated to quick review of the process of development. They were framed, executed and monitored by the Planning Commission. Now, government also took the lead in setting up a heavy industries such as the steel and building dams. Jawaharlal Nehru, he realized the importance of dam. That is why he called dam as the temples of the modern India. Clear? Public sector was given the responsibility to mobilize resource and develop infrastructure. So private sector also played a leading role. Next one, independent foreign policy. Now, ever since when achieving independence, India has sought to develop an independent foreign policy. So, they start by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He defined non-alignment movement, disarmament and peaceful coexistence as a principle of India's foreign policy. Okay, now let us move towards the non-aligned movement. Now, after the Second World War, what happened, children? There were two major superpowers in the world. One is the USA and one is the USSR. Okay, so between the two superpowers there was a rivalry was going on. Clear? Now, approximately what had an atmosphere, there was an atmosphere of tension, distrust and fear developed. So it was known as a Cold War. Clear? Many former imperialist colonies, they were attaining independence at that time, but both powers, they tried to draw attentions, okay, from a newly independent countries in their respective blocks. So India, what happened, did not wish to join any of these powers, any of the superpowers. Okay, so they tried to initiate a movement for the world peace. So our leaders at that time, they felt that peace did not mean only the absence of war. It means healthy cooperations among the nations for the benefit of all. This policy came to be known as a non-aligned movement. Okay, so it meant, now what does the non-aligned movement means? What it means an independent approach towards any of the issues of the world, okay, without being influenced by either of the two blocks. Okay, so non-alignment does not mean remaining neutral or not getting involved in any foreign affairs. It means remaining independent, okay, of political as well as the military groups while taking an active part in promoting world peace and understanding amongst the nation. Clear? So, India on the move. So in 2017, India celebrates 70 years of its independence. It is the time that we must celebrate our success and failures during these 7 decades. Clear? So, success is what? People started to practice different religions, speaking different languages at that time. Okay, India managed to stay united and strong. Okay, India remains a secular democratic nation. People, they have a right to vote in elections and they can elect their representative leaders of their own. We also have a freedom of press that has become very much vocalized over the last few years. We have also an independent judiciary. Agricultural output is at that time very high, and there have been a lot of growth of industrial also. India also has created nuclear energy for use in peaceful activities, and it is one among the few countries which has sent a mission to moon. Clear? Now, after what happened, challenges comes ahead. What are the challenges? Okay, so India has progressed a lot during the last few decades. However, much more has to be done. Okay, so one is removing poverty from our country. Crores of people, they are still below the poverty line. They are known as the BPL. They do not even get 2 meals in a day. There's a lot of caste inequality in our society which needed to be eradicated from our society. Untouchable still continues among the high sections of the people. They are still not allowed to draw water from the public wells or to enter the temples. There's also a lot of gender inequality. So while we have been able to achieve political equality, economic as well as social equality is still a distant dream. Clear? So making education very important is also another challenge for the decades also. So For that reason, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan has been taken on. Okay, so it needs to pursue it more aggressively. Now, many challenges are there to create a job for the millions of youth passing out from school, colleges, and technical institutes. So, challenges of India are many, and those given here are only the tip of the thing. But the good thing is that we are in a position that we can overcome from all these challenges because the attitude of the people, the Indian people, is keep on changing. Indians today, they are much more aware and they are more responsive. They want a change and they are willing to work for it. Okay, so we have already finished this chapter. I'm going to give the question answers related to this chapter in my next video. Okay, thank you, children.